feels like every time you blink in the tech and AI world,
Yeah.
things have already like totally changed again.
Right.
It's just unbelievable how fast everything's moving.
It is.
And that's kind of what we want to dig into today because there are some pretty big things happening,
Yeah.
specifically in AI hardware
Absolutely.
from one of the biggest players in the game.
Yeah.
And you're here because you want to stay ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what's going on without getting lost in the weeds. So that's what we're going to try to do today.
For sure.
And, you know, we've looked at a bunch of different sources and stuff trying to pull out the most important parts. So just real quick before we get into that, just a friendly reminder that, you know, we do get info from a lot of different places and try to bring you the most up-to-date stuff. But all the AI information we talk about is really just for learning and having fun.
Yeah, it's for entertainment.
You know, we can't guarantee that everything's perfectly accurate, so please be responsible. Use it ethically.
Definitely.
And, you know, if you need specific advice,
Talk to a professional.
yeah, talk to an expert.
Yeah.
So what is everybody so excited? Well, this big company just announced their next generation of AI chips.
Their next wave.
Yeah, and there are two main things. We're going to talk about the Blackwell Ultra, which is going to be shipping later this year.
Very soon.
Yeah, like really soon.
Yeah.
And then looking ahead to 2026, there's the Rubin series.
Right.
And these announcements are huge for figuring out where AI is going, especially with all the crazy stuff we've seen lately. I mean, the amount of computing power needed for all this advanced AI stuff is just exploding, and these chips are designed to handle that.
I mean, what's really amazing is just how fast everything's moving. Like, it feels like just yesterday we were talking about the last generation of hardware.
Right.
And now we've got two completely new architectures coming out. It's a total shift in how the industry is developing.
So let's get into it.
Right.
Let's start with the Blackwell Ultra. This isn't like some far-off thing. This is coming out in the second half of this year.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
And one of the biggest improvements is that it can process more tokens per second.
Way more.
So for anyone who doesn't know, tokens are basically the building blocks of language and all kinds of digital content.
The fundamental units. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you can process more tokens per second, it means AI models can generate stuff way faster. But I'm curious, what kind of changes will this faster content generation make possible? I mean, beyond just speed.
That's a really good question, because if you think about being able to create more content in less time, it means AI can be used in all sorts of new ways, like places where you need things to happen instantly.
Like real time.
Exactly. Like, imagine customer service bots that can have natural conversations without those annoying delays.
Yeah, or like content creation tools that can give you drafts and suggestions super fast.
Right, so you can refine them instantly. It's not just about speed, it's about making AI more responsive and interactive. And that could lead to all kinds of new premium services from cloud providers.
Right, because time is money.
Exactly. And when they talk about making way more money than with previous generations, like the Hopper chips, it's not just a number. It's about the value of that responsiveness.
And it seems like the Blackwell Ultra isn't just a one-size-fits-all solution. They've got different versions of it, right?
Absolutely. They've got a bunch of configurations to fit different needs.
So what are some of the configurations?
Well, one that stands out is the one with two of these super powerful GPUs paired with an ARM-based CPU.
Oh, wow.
They call that one the GB300. Then there's the B300, which is a single GPU unit. And for those who need even more power, they've got server blades with 8 GPUs each.
Wow.
And then if you need a ton of power, they even have a whole rack with 72 of these chips.
Wow.
So it's pretty versatile. It doesn't matter if you're a researcher or a giant cloud company, there's a configuration for you.
And it sounds like people are already super excited about these chips. I saw something that said that top 4 cloud companies are going to use 3 times more Blackwell chips than they did Hopper chips. Yeah. Which is pretty amazing considering they haven't even come out yet.
It shows you how much demand there is.
Yeah.
And it's because these companies are always trying to improve their AI services. They want to be the best, and they think Blackwell is going to give them a big edge.
So what is it about Blackwell that makes it so much better?
Well, one thing is that it's really good at handling these new reasoning AI models.
Reasoning.
Yeah, these are the models that can do more complex stuff like solve problems and give more nuanced answers.
So it's not just about recognizing patterns anymore.
Right, it's about actual thinking.
Yeah.
And Blackwell is built to do that really efficiently, so it's no wonder these cloud companies are jumping on it.
That makes a lot of sense. So Blackwell Ultra is like the immediate upgrade, but then we've got the Rubin family coming out in 2026. That's a whole other level, right?
Yeah, Rubin is a big step forward. It's supposed to start shipping in the second half of 2026, and it has some really groundbreaking stuff in it.
Like what?
Well, one of the biggest things is Vera, which is their first custom-designed CPU.
Wow, so they're not just using off-the-shelf components anymore.
Nope, they're going all in on their own design. It's based on their Olympus Core architecture.
That's a big move.
Yeah.
What do you think the advantages and disadvantages are of going that route?
Well, the good thing is that they can really optimize their CPU to work perfectly with their GPUs.
So it's like a match made in heaven.
Exactly. It should lead to much better performance and use less power. But the downside is that it's a huge investment in research and development.
Yeah, and it makes things a lot more complicated because now they have to manage both the CPU and the GPU.
Right. But it's a gamble they're willing to take because they think it'll give them the best AI processing power in the world.
So how much faster is Vera going to be?
They say it'll be twice as fast as the CPU in their Grace Blackwell chips.
Wow, that's impressive. And what about the Rubin GPU itself?
Oh, that's a beast. It's supposed to be able to handle 50 petaflops of compute for inference tasks.
50 petaflops? That's more than double what Blackwell can do.
Yeah, and it'll have up to 288 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory, which is super important for training and using these massive AI models.
So it can handle way more data and way more complex models.
Absolutely.
It sounds like Rubin is built for the future of AI.
Yeah, they're really thinking ahead.
And there's also a change in how the Rubin GPU is designed, right?
Yeah, it's kind of technical, but it's interesting. So unlike Blackwell, which is basically two chips stuck together acting like one, Rubin is going to have two separate GPU dies in the same package.
So what's the difference?
Well, from now on, they're going to call those individual dies separate GPUs. It might seem like a small thing, but it probably affects how they handle parallel processing and maybe even how scalable and reliable the chip is.
It's like they're splitting the atom of GPUs.
Kind of. And it
Yeah.
makes you wonder what they'll be able to do with that in the future.
And the crazy thing is they're already talking about a Rubin Next coming out in 2027.
I know, it's hard to keep up. It's like they're fast forward.
So what's Rubin Next going to be like?
Well, it's basically going to be Rubin, but with 4 GPU dies in one chip.
4.
Yeah, so it'll be twice as fast as regular Rubin.
It's like they're doubling down on doubling down.
Exactly. And they're going to call this 4 GPUs within a Vera Rubin NBL 144 rack.
It's a mouthful.
It is, but it shows how fast AI hardware is developing.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I noticed they're sticking with their tradition of naming these chips after famous scientists. Rubin is named after the astronomer Vera Rubin.
Yeah, and they've already said that the next one after Rubin, which is supposed to come out in 2028, is going to be named after the physicist Richard Feynman.
It's a cool way to connect all this technology with the history of science.
It is.
So it seems like they're moving to a yearly release cycle for these new chip architectures, which is a big change from their old every other year schedule.
It's a huge shift.
What do you think is driving this acceleration?
It's pretty simple. It's the demand. Everybody wants more computing power, and they want it now.
Because of AI.
Yeah, AI is moving so fast that the hardware has to keep up. If they want to stay on top, they can't afford to wait 2 years between releases.
And they're really betting that these new chips are going to keep them in the lead?
Absolutely. If they can convince those big cloud companies to keep using their stuff, they'll be in a great position.
But it's a risky bet, right?
It is. They're putting a lot of faith in those cloud companies.
Because if those companies decide to go with someone else's hardware,
It could be a problem.
and it seems like their big technology conference is a way to show off their strength.
It's their big stage.
Yeah, they bring in tons of people and show how everyone's using their hardware in all sorts of industries.
Like a victory lap.
Like they mentioned companies using their stuff for self-driving cars and manufacturing.
And healthcare and finance and everything.
It's really impressive.
It is. They're showing that they're not just an AI company. They're everywhere.
And what was interesting is that they even talked about new AI models coming out of other countries.
Like China.
Yeah, and they didn't seem threatened by it at all.
No, they actually seemed happy about it.
It's like they're saying, bring it on.
Yeah, because to them, any progress in AI is good news because it means more demand for their hardware.
It's a very clever way to spin it.
It is. They're turning their competition into validation.
And they made a bunch of other announcements besides the chips, right?
Oh, yeah, they announced a ton of stuff.
Like what?
Well, they've got new laptops and desktops coming out that use their chips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, including some special AI-focused PCs that are powerful enough to run big AI models right on your desk.
So you don't need a giant data center anymore.
Exactly. You can do cutting-edge AI right at home.
That's amazing.
And they're also working on new networking technology to connect huge clusters of GPUs together.
Because that's what you need for those massive AI training jobs.
Right, and they also announced a new software package that's supposed to make their chips even faster.
So they're really covering all the bases.
Yeah, they're thinking about the whole AI ecosystem.
So let's sum up the big takeaways here for our listeners. We talked about the Blackwell Ultra, which is coming out really soon, and it's all about faster AI content generation and better performance for those more complex AI tasks.
Right, and then there's the Rubin family, which is coming out in a few years, and it's a huge leap forward with a custom CPU and a new GPU architecture.
And they're already planning even faster versions of Rubin after that.
They're not slowing down.
It's clear that AI hardware is evolving at an incredible speed, driven by the insatiable demands of artificial intelligence.
And all this is going to have a huge impact on tons of different industries, from cloud computing to self-driving cars to scientific research.
It's really changing the world.
Absolutely. And this race for more powerful and efficient AI hardware is only going to get more intense.
So here's something to think about. With all this happening so fast, what do you think are going to be the biggest changes we'll see in technology and society in the next few years?
That's the million-dollar question. The possibilities are almost endless.
It's both exciting and a little scary.
It is. We're entering uncharted territory.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below.
We'd love to hear what you think.
Until next time, stay curious.
And keep exploring.
See you later.